Welcome to get to the hoop.
Oh, dear Lord.
I am your host.
Are you going to do this the whole time?
Yeah, sure. I can do a Transylvania thing the entire.
Please don't.
Don't challenge me. I am your co-host.
I'll do
Charles.
Frankenstein then.
I am your co-host, the Count de Latibeaudiere.
I'm your co-host, Colley. I'm not even going to.
Yeah,
I don't
all
know.
right. I'm doing a little creepy Halloween thing because we're all in the spirit here. And look, last year at Halloween, we did something that, a lot of shows do. We talked about some Halloween hits, the annual songs you always hear around Halloween, stepping it up this year.
Yeah.
Because this is not just fictional songs we're talking about. We're talking about some songs that, because of real life events, some people think they're cursed. Okay, that's the last one I'm going to do. Okay. That's it. I promise.
I guarantee you that will not be the last time you do that. These are actual, some of these songs have actual very tragic circumstances around them that have become tied to the songs themselves. And honestly, we legitimately have to kind of give a trigger warning on this episode. There will be some discussion of suicide in this episode. It's literally the name of one of the bands we're going to talk about. There's kind of no way around that. So yeah, we're going to get into these songs that in and of themselves, some of them are very creepy songs. Some seem innocuous, but there's a lot of baggage. And some people are a little superstitious about them. So
understandandly.
We're not going to play the whole song.
Superstition is not one of them.
No, superstition, Stevie Wonder.
Understandably, and we're here to unpack the baggage, and you're going to learn some things about some songs and artists that.
These are fully some spooky tales for your Halloween. There's some good stories here, and we're going to start with Bruce Springsteen. Actually,
which, on the surface, you go, "What? There's nothing creepy about Springsteen."
It's an indirect connection. Well, I guess a direct connection. Specifically, the movie just came out, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, which stars Jeremy Allen White. And that movie is not a whole biopic. It's specifically about Springsteen recording his 1982 album, Nebraska.
By the way, this has become a new thing in biopics, particularly about musical artists, where you don't do their entire lives. You just do an era of it.
Which the Bob Dylan movie did.
The Bob Dylan movie did it. The Bob Marley movie did it.
I kind of like that better. Because some of these people, like somebody like Bob Dylan or Bruce Springsteen, they have decades deep careers.
It's too much to try and pack into one film.
Like the Elton John movie, I thought they crammed a lot in there.
Right.
But at least that had the hook of his lifelong quest for love. It wasn't so much about the actual, chronological career.
Music, right.
So yes, the Springsteen movie focuses on Nebraska. It's a very stripped down album. It was recorded in a bedroom by Springsteen himself on an acoustic guitar into a cassette. It was never meant to be an album. He was going to record it with the E Street Band and then ultimately decided he liked the demos better.
Right.
And interestingly, so this movie comes out, and there's a scene in the movie showing the influence one of the songs we're going to talk about very directly had on Bruce Springsteen, because it is such a dark, depressing, horrible song that he took influence by it multiple times. The song Johnny 99 on Nebraska is about a guy who loses his job and kind of snaps, and he kills a clerk at a motel and goes to prison for 99 years. That's why they call him Johnny 99. The story is similar to this song. Also, there's a song on the album called State Trooper that's very stark, very sparse, even by Nebraska's standards. A lot of heavy reverb on Springsteen's vocal. And I wanted to play that before we play the song that inspired it. And you can hear the influence in the vocal track, apparently. So this is Bruce Springsteen and his song State Trooper.
Mr. State Trooper, please don't stop me.
And Springsteen has said many times over the years that he was very directly inspired by the song Frankie Teardrop by the proto-punk band Suicide. That's the name of the group. In 1977, they released their debut album. And it's not punk like you think of, like loud guitars and all that. It's drum machines and synthesizers, but from the mid-'70s, so it's very...
It's the punk era, but...
It's a punk attitude, definitely. Just they used synthesizers instead of...
Where is this group from? I've never heard of the group. So.
American group. Alan Vega was the lead singer and main songwriter. It was a duo. And one of those groups that didn't have big commercial success, but were very influential on a lot of people. Springsteen has sung their praises for 45 years at this point. But the centerpiece of their album, it's a 10.5-minute long song. And it is droning. It's a chore to listen to. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just it's an exhausting song because it's so stark. It forces you into the narrative of this guy, Frankie Teardrop. This is what the song's about. This is the story that he's 20 years old and he's got a wife and a 6-month-old kid, and he's barely getting by. He's working 10 hours a day, can't pay for food. He got an eviction notice. In the song, he snaps. This is where the trigger warning comes in. Shoots his 6-month-old in the crib, shoots his wife, shoots himself. The singer's telling the story over the period of 10 minutes. Eventually, the singer just starts screaming in character as Frankie when he realizes, I've killed my family. Then he kills himself. Then, as if that is not enough, he wakes up in hell, realizes what he's done, and then the rest of the song is just him screaming and shouting and shrieking. It is so hard to listen to.
How many minutes into the song does that happen?
Oh, that's like at the 9.5-minute mark. You got to get to that point. So here, just mercifully, dear listeners, is like 9 seconds of it. This is just the part when Frankie decides he's going to do what he's going to do.
Frankie is so desperate. He's gonna kill his wife and kid.
It sounds like that for 10.5 minutes. There's not any really big musical changes.
Lord.
It's hard to listen to.
So Springsteen is a fan of the group.
Loved that.
And he listened to it, and so that song, sort of the tone of that song,
the bleak vibe of it, which is obviously what he was going for with Nebraska. And the first song on Nebraska, the title cut, is Springsteen singing in the first person as Charles Starkweather, the guy in the late 50s who took his 14-year-old girlfriend and drove across the Midwest and killed like 10 people in a week. It was like a spree killing.
Right.
And he had no regrets about it. And so Springsteen does that song, and then it's a dark, dark record.
So this is not a song he's performing in concert, typically.
I don't think so. Suicide, that's, again, it was certainly not a hit. Radio is not going to play that.
Pretty easy to see why that wasn't a big radio hit.
1977, they're not going to play that against the Bee Gees and Debbie Boone, no.
Even if they did a radio edit. I don't know how you make a radio edit of that other than...
But like I said, it's not a song you enjoy listening to in that sense. But as a piece of performance art, it's incredible. Like you can't listen to it and not have a reaction, and that's the point of it. And that's the punk nature of it. It's to put something in your face, uncomfortable, and just make you. And punk songs, though, at least usually are like 2.5 minutes long. This is 10.5 minutes of just.
When did you say that came out? Mid-70s?
Like 77, yeah.
77. Like, yes, we had serial killers, but there weren't a lot of. I mean, sad to say that nowadays that story that you hear in that song is not uncommon.
Right.
But back then, that was an uncommon crime to hear, where someone was killing their whole family. Like, eesh.
It's that song's.
It's weird where people find inspiration sometimes. You know, like I get that Springsteen artistically found some inspiration in that.
But for even Alan Vega from Suicide as a songwriter, I mean, it's inherently a compelling story, and it's not done in a sensationalistic way, really. That's partly because like the minimalism of the music.
Right.
It's just the reality. And the darkest part of the whole song is after the whole end of it and all the screaming and Frankie winds up in hell. At the end, Alan Vega goes, "We're all Frankies." Just that we're all a breaking point away from that kind of stress. See?
I just got to chill.
Happy Halloween, everybody. That was the point.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's like, and this guy was 20 years old in the song. And it's fictional, but I guess Alan Vega had read some story in the paper that inspired it, so it's not entirely fictional.
Right.
Ugh. All right, we're going to move on to...
So, I was going to say lighten it up, but, I mean, they're all first songs.
That's probably the darkest... Well, maybe not the darkest song.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's maybe the darkest song we're going to listen to. But the other ones, these have the stories. These are the cursed songs.
All right.
The things that over the years, there have been some legends attached to them, and you think, maybe... And we are going to start with one of the biggest hits of the 1970s, which was also a huge hit in the 1990s. It's a song everybody probably knows. Mm-hmm. Talking about Without You. Nielsen had a huge #1 hit with that in 1972. It was #1 for 4 weeks.
Right.
Mariah Carey had a huge hit with it in the 1990s. She covered it. But Nielsen's song was actually a cover. And it starts from a drunken party.
Did not know that.
Harry Nielsen was at a party, and he heard this song. He heard Without You. And he's like, that's incredible. And the next day, he's like, I gotta do a cover of that. He's like, that Beatles song I heard. He went through every Beatles album he owned, and the song was not there. And he's like, what?
Oh,
what is this?
There's not. If it wasn't Beatles, and he thought it was Beatles, I'm guessing it was a Badfinger song.
It was Badfinger. Badfinger. If you don't know Badfinger, they were a British band. They were the first group signed to the Beatles' Apple Music label, and they were touted as being the Beatles of the 70s. They were going to be to the 70s what the Beatles had been to the 60s.
And they often sound like the Beatles.
They sound a lot like the Beatles, which is maybe why they didn't become that. Yeah. But there are other reasons that didn't happen. Badfinger had a bunch of huge hits in the early 70s, No Matter What, Come and Get It, Day After Day. Slightly younger listeners might know their song Baby Blue and the final episode of Breaking Bad. Spoiler alert for the end of Breaking Bad, so don't listen if you haven't watched
I
the
haven't
show and you want
watched
to. You haven't?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
I'm
I was like,
kidding.
the end of the. Oh,
Anyone who
Tony's
wa-
over here blocking his ears.
Tony, anyone who wants to watch Breaking Bad, you should have watched it by now.
He was like in elementary school when that show was
maybe.
on. He
That's
was
fine.
too young to watch it
That's
then.
fine. All
Watch
right.
it as an
Tony,
adult,
you get
but-
a pass.
So,
Cover your ears.
No, listen, at the end of the show, Walter White, Bryan Cranston's character, dies.
Right.
And the final shot, as he's dying, they play the song Baby Blue by Badfinger. And it caused the song to go viral in was that 2013, I think, when that aired. iTunes sales spiked because iTunes Store was still a big thing. Then early streaming, the song spiked. So a lot of people think Baby Blue is their most famous song because it was just perfect in that moment. But Badfinger had a song called Without You. And this, from 1970, from their album No Dice, this is what the original version of that song sounded like.
Can't live if living is without you. I can't live.
Kind of similar to what Nielsen did, but he made it so much more dramatic
Yeah.
and put all the swelling strings and that ache in his voice. I mean, Nielsen had an incredible voice. So the two guys from Badfinger, the guitar player and the bass player, were also the two lead vocalists, kind of like the Beatles, with Paul and John. It was Pete Ham and Tom Evans. Make sure I got the names right there. Yeah, Pete Ham and Tom Evans were the two main guys. They were the John and Paul of Badfinger. And things did not go well for Badfinger because of their manager, this guy named Stan Polly, who eventually was convicted of fraud decades later. He screwed them out of all of their money. They made almost nothing. And it got real bad. In 1975, Pete Ham hung himself because he was broke, and in his suicide note, directly blamed Stan Polly. He's like, "You destroyed my life," basically.
Lord.
8 years later, 1983, Pete Evans also hung himself. Their lives were destroyed by being in Badfinger. They were driven into bankruptcy. So the two guys who wrote Without You,
I'm
Yes.
floored. Like I know Badfinger songs. I've listened to it, but
Their songs are
I
great.
never really explored their.
and they're not a dark, ominous
No, they're
sounding
not at
band at
all,
all.
but-
They kind of helped invent power pop.
And I'd even heard something about them having like a financial dispute, but I didn't realize that it.
It was
ended.
very, very bad. Stan Polly destroyed a lot of people's lives, and like I said, he eventually was found guilty of it. Was a convicted fraudster. In the suicide note, Pete Ham called him a soulless bastard. And so the two guys who wrote that song, within 15 years, were both dead because of that. And then, so that's not enough to curse a song, right?
No, I
It's
think
just
that's good.
it's a
That'll
tragic
do it.
circumstance.
That'll do it.
Randomly. So then, 72, Harry Nilsson has a huge, huge hit with that song. 1993, Mariah Carey releases her Music Box album. That's the one that had Dream Lover on it.
Right.
And then early 94, very beginning of 94, she released her version of Without You as a single. Became a huge hit, went to number 3 for her. The week in January that Mariah Carey released the single, Harry Nilsson dropped dead of a heart attack. So Mariah, you better hope nobody ever covers that song
Nobody
again.
record this song anymore. What?
Yeah, protect Mariah Carey. Yeah, Harry Nilsson died the week she released hers
I was
as a
gonna
single.
say. I thought. You know what? Foolish me. I thought Eric was gonna give us a silver lining at the end. That that the members of Badfinger, their estates made lots of money
Nah.
from Nielsen and from Mariah Carey, which they probably did get money, but
I don't know. All the royalties went into an escrow that was owned by Stan Polly, and after his fraud conviction, he was ordered to
The
pay
manager?
restitution. He was ordered to pay restitution, but he died before he ever did that. It's kind of like OJ and Nicole
there's
Brown.
no way they
Simpsons
would have
family.
allowed him to still get the royalties off that song
I would assume
after
not.
he was convicted of fraud.
And I don't know who gets it now. I assume their estates. I don't know who
I would
controls
hope
that
so,
or what's
but-
there. And if you thought Harry Nilsson dying when Mariah Carey's came out was the end of the weird stories on this,
Oh,
not related to Without You, but I did not know this until I was looking this up for this episode. I knew all the rest of it. Mama Cass Elliot, remember her from the Mamas and the Papas? One of the great voices of rock and roll. Died of a heart attack in 1974. There's an urban legend she choked to
That
death
she
on a ham
choked on a
sandwich.
sandwich.
She did not. That's cruel fat shaming. Give that woman her due. She died of a heart attack in 1974 in a bed in a hotel, in an apartment in London owned by Harry Nilsson. Hold on, Charles. You're going to get chills again. 4 years later, 1978, Keith Moon, the drummer for The Who, choked to death on his own vomit, died in the same bed as Mama Cass in the same apartment owned by Harry Nilsson.
no,
After that, he
no,
sold it.
No,
he said it's cursed.
no.
Yes. Mama
no.
Cass and Keith Moon died in the same bed in the same apartment owned by Harry Nilsson.
I am fucking floored. Pardon the language, but what?
There's a whole curse around all of this.
Keith Moon, Mama
The
Cass,
same bed.
And it was Harry Nilsson's apartment?
He owned it. And after Keith Moon died, he was like, this is not a coincidence, and I've got to get rid of this apartment. He unloaded it. He was so freaked out by it.
Oh, my Lord.
Which you would be. How many rock icons need to die in your bedroom before you're like, oh, something's weird?
Oh, my. I mean, you could say, even if you say that that was a time where there were a lot of rock stars that were dying early, and even we've had a period like that, for the last 10, 15 years now.
Right.
But still, for them to be that connected, that they all...
And in different ways, too. She had a heart attack. He
God.
choked to death on his own vomit after a drinking and drug binge. The guys from Badfinger hung themselves. He died of a heart attack. Like, weird.
Okay,
So think about that when you listen to Without You.
Hang on, I gotta change a couple playlists.
I thought you said you had to change your pants there. I was like, it's not that scary. Okay.
Not playing that song. I made.
But it's such a beautiful song.
It is
I
a
like
beautiful
it. Schmaltzy,
song,
but I
but-
think it's a beautiful song. I mean, Harry Nilsson's voice on that, it just gives you chills, even without all the context.
Well, thanks a lot, Eric. Just ruined that song for everybody who ever
You are
wanted
welcome.
to listen to it.
You are welcome. This next song we're going to do, I realized there's a whole genre of music I don't think, and this is our 90th episode, by the way. I keep track of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we've ever talked about classical music, which I'm a little embarrassed
Not
by,
even-
honestly.
Not even glancingly.
I don't think
we
so.
have.
And I don't know classical music that well. Like, I like it. I'm not
I like
against it, but
I
I just
don't know. I mean, like I took a class in college and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. it's great.
Can't say I retain a lot of that knowledge at this point.
I
But
know there are a couple key tracks I know the composer and the name of. And a lot of them I recognize the songs, but it's hard for me to keep track of who did it and what era because you got 200 years of
Right.
history there.
Well, at least we're going to dive into it now in the cursed episode. Great.
That's right. Have you
Classical
ever heard?
fans, pay attention.
Have you ever heard of the Curse of the Ninth?
I know Beethoven's ninth.
Do you know Beethoven's 10th?
I don't.
That's because there's not one, because he died after his ninth. That is the curse of
Oh
the
my
ninth.
God.
Oh, this is fun.
Okay.
It's the
so-
curse of the ninth is the belief that classical composers die after their ninth symphony.
They only
they
have
never get
9
to-
in them, and then they got to go.
Well, random things
So
happen,
when you
but
get to 8, you're like, you know what? Let me take a little hiatus.
obviously, well, we're going to get to some people who tried to beat it. So historically, obviously not every composer, but there's some big names: Beethoven, Franz Schubert, Antonin Dvorak, a lot of a dozen other composers died after their ninth symphony before they could do a 10th. And in the early 1900s, Gustav Mahler, also a very famous classical composer, he knew this. He's the one who sort of popularized the idea of it because he became aware of it and was like, "Oh, the ninth." Ugh. So his
Decided
ninth
to
symphony.
Test fate.
Gustav Mahler, early 1900s, does his ninth symphony, and it's like an hour and a half long. It's got a lot of different movements in it and stuff, as symphonies do. But he called it a song cycle instead of a symphony because, like, well, if it's not my ninth symphony, it doesn't count, and I've beaten the curse. So he puts it out.
A song cycle.
Yeah, it's not a symphony.
Smooth, Gustav. Very smooth.
Well, if you believe in these kind of things, like Final Destination, you can't fool him. So he puts his ninth out. He's fine. He's like, cool, I'm good. Starts working on his 10th. He gets kind of deep into it. Dies before he can finish it. The guy who created the idea of the Curse of the Ninth fell victim to the Curse of the Ninth. This is a little bit of what the Ninth sounded like.
Seems innocent and safe enough.
It does until you realize that's your Ninth Symphony.
They just name it 8A or something.
Well, he tried with the song cycle thing.
Here's what I'm really concerned about. I don't want to make it about us, but you said this is our 90th episode?
Yeah. Oh, no, not Curse of the 90th.
It's too close. That's way too close for comfort. It's just 9 times 10, and you could figure the 10 is just a factor of
10 times worse?
how many decades or centuries have passed, and oh my God.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh,
This one doesn't end in death, but it's kind of funny. Philip Glass, who's still alive, by the way, didn't die. Philip Glass is like probably
As
the
of
most
this
famous
recording.
modern composer in that, like as a classical musician. He still records his music and he's done soundtracks and things. He's an incredible composer. He is also aware of the Curse of the Ninth, and when he did his ninth, he recorded his ninth and 10th at the same time, and he beat the
Ooh.
curse.
Oh, so that's smart.
So he's now done 14.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what
So,
Mahler should have done.
so as soon as we're done with this episode, we're doing another one. Just,
Yeah, we're recording 90 and 91 at the same time. The last one.
Yeesh.
This is
Dear,
you can't
You know
take
what?
anymore
No, you know what?
because you don't. We discovered this last time. You don't really like Halloween. Like you
No,
don't
I
like
don't.
scary stuff.
I'm
You're
not
not into
into
scary movies.
scary
I can't
stuff.
relate to that at all.
It's I don't like paying people to go to like, haunted houses or mazes and any of that. No. Why am I doing that?
Because it's
At-
fun.
It's not fun.
It is fun. And wait, you don't even like scary movies though, really, right?
I like a scary movie if it's got a humorous, like a truly humorous bent to it, or like a thriller, like a psychological thriller. I can sit through that even though it's going to be
Right.
scary. But like slasher, or worse yet, like the Conjuring movies.
Oh, if I'm not uncomfortable being alone in my house, then why did I even watch it?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Give me the good stuff.
No, thank you.
Right.
So, and now you put this 9th thing in my head.
Oh no. Although I do need to go back and see what our 9th episode was, though.
Great.
Wait, I have it on my phone. I keep a list. I'm gonna see because I'm gonna see
Everyone drive very carefully on the way
what
home.
would our 9th episode have been. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Oh, canceled artists. When we did Diddy, that would have been kind of funny.
Yeah.
The last song we're gonna do
All right.
is by urban legend, attached to more than 100 suicides.
Well, so much for hoping that Eric was going to bring it
No.
home on a
Oh,
slightly
no.
positive note.
No,
All right.
no. We are
Okay.
talking about it's a Hungarian song called Gloomy Sunday. I mean, it's in the title right there. And it is subtitled in America, The Hungarian Suicide Song. And so this was written in 1933 by a guy named Rijo Sharesh. Sorry, I had to get my Hungarian pronunciation down there. So Rijo wrote this song, and initially the original lyrics in Hungarian were about the fear of fascism and war. This was 1933, so we were just at the onset of World War II coming. And to be fair, there were a lot of suicides in Hungary at that time. A lot of that's attached to the poverty and the hunger of the time.
Yeah.
Like it was not good times in Hungary in the 1930s. But there are urban legends that people who took their own lives would be found holding the sheet music or would have the song playing on their gramophone
The
or
sheet
wrote the
music to the
lyrics
song?
in their suicide note because a guy named Laszlo Javor wrote new lyrics for it. And it's about a man whose significant other dies, and he's so depressed about it, he decides to end his own life to join her. And it became a sensation in Hungary. So then all these reports came out about people taking their own lives, again, like with
And this is
with the
while we're
sheet
going
music
through famine,
or-
though, like
yes, lots
so-
of bad things were
okay.
happening. And it's hard to verify from 1930s Hungary if by news accounts, did people actually have the record playing on the gramophone? Did they actually write the lyrics in the note? That's what people chose to believe.
Mhm.
But of course, that got it banned in Hungary. And that obviously got the attention of American publishers who were like, we need to get on that.
Of course.
So,
Why not?
so there was American versions. The most famous
Someone
version,
do a remix?
no, just re-recordings. Because in the 30s and 40s, people just would record. There'd be dozens and dozens
I'm really
of versions
curious
of
to
songs.
hear what the song sounds like.
It sounds like
but-
what you'd expect a song from the 30s to sound like. So the most famous recording is actually by Billie Holiday from 1941, and it got banned by the BBC, and the ban on that was not lifted from 1941 until 2002. They would allow instrumental versions to be played, but not the lyrics. In which I would have played the Billie Holiday version, but
Why did they lift it? Like, who was clamoring for the song in 2002? They're like, you know what? Let's take.
maybe
the
that's
ban
why
off.
they thought, okay, it's been long enough. We can let it up. I would have played Billie's version, but we just did Billie on our band songs a couple weeks ago. So
That's right.
multiple banned Billie Holiday songs. So I went with the first English recording of it. It was an orchestra conductor named Hal Kemp. This is his 1936 version of Gloomy Sunday.
Gloomy Sunday with shadows, I spend it all. My heart and I have decided to end it all.
It became so upsetting for people. A third verse was tacked on where he wakes up and it was a dream he had and she's asleep beside him and she didn't actually die and he didn't actually die. No, that's not what it originally was. And it just became this song that people embraced and people loved the song.
Sometimes you should embrace a rewrite, and that song needed a rewrite. So
Well-
whoever added that third verse, bravo.
Some of
Thank
the
you.
people
We need that.
Some of the people who have recorded it over the years, Ray Charles did a version, Elvis Costello, Sinead O'Connor, Sarah McLachlan, and Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, recorded 3 albums and decided to do that song because of course he did.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the only one that makes sense there. But the good news is that list of people you just went through, they're all still with us.
No, they're not all. Ray Charles is dead.
Oh,
Sinead
Ray
O'Connor's
Charles
dead.
is dead.
Anton
Sorry.
LaVey is dead.
But Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, Sarah
with us.
McLachlan's still
Sarah
going.
McLachlan still going strong.
So the song, yeah. So again, the song was
as long
written
as they
by.
don't do a Ninth Symphony.
Yeah,
they
the
should be
song was
fine.
written by Rijo Sharesh in 1933. I said 1968. Rijo jumped out of his apartment window in Budapest and killed himself.
You know,
You're
Eric, I don't know
welcome,
how many
Charles.
times I'm gonna try to end this on somewhat of an up note.
This is like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. I'm like, look, something happy,
trying,
Charles.
and you
Whoop.
just keep pulling the football away. Listen,
The
they
man
did a
who wrote the
rewrite.
Suicide Song.
They did a rewrite on
Died by
Gloomy
suicide.
Sunday, one that was much needed, and wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, but
Yeah, so these songs, are they cursed? Depends on what you believe in, I suppose.
they all seem pretty well cursed.
They all do have some baggage.
And look, in all seriousness, we should say if you are struggling with suicidal thoughts, there are obviously hotlines that you can and should reach out to. We're not mocking.
No, I'm
we're
laughing
not
at
mocking
you.
that.
I'm laughing at your uncomfortableness, but no, I'm not laughing at these stories.
What I'm uncomfortable with is just that. I get it that people like supernatural things. People don't want to believe in it, and I generally don't believe in that stuff. But when you see a pattern after a while, I just go like, why even mess with it? Why would you even just don't do it? Why? Because it's not worth it. Because then if it doesn't work out, you can't get to go like, oh, that was just coincidence. No, you're gone.
Uh-huh.
So
So if you were a recording artist, you would absolutely, definitely now, specifically not record without you because of that.
I would definitely not record that song. I'm not even going to play that song,
Why?
much less record
How long
it.
have you listened to
I'm
it
not playing
throughout
it.
your whole
I'm
life?
not singing along with it anymore.
I mean, Mariah Carey's okay.
If I were on Name That Tune and that song came out, I'd be like, I'm out. Mic would come off and I just walk out of the studio. Good luck to you all. I'm out.
Oh, Charles. Well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, which really sounds weird to say, but
I wanted some like sort of
be
ghost
safe.
stories,
Yes, there are definitely some ghost stories
some
there.
creepy things to think about.
Be safe. Have a happy Halloween. Yes, a happy one
Yes.
is possible. And if you enjoy horror movies and scary shit,
Go put
more
on
power
Frankie
to you.
Teardrop for 10.5 minutes.
more power to you. There you go. Exactly. We'll see you next time on Get to It.